Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the next episode of Kick Out at 2-8. We're joined today by a very special guest. This is Iain Loach. Iain, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to be on here. You've been talking about it for so long at work. We might as well sit down and do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit rude not to. Why don't you tell us a bit about yourself then?
uh, oh, what about me? God, there's far too much to get into. But I've been a wrestling fan since I was 8 years old. Watched WrestleMania 20 on a VHS that my dad recorded it on a dodgy skybox for me.
Yeah, that's the WrestleMania we don't talk about.
It's so weird as well because that was my first Mania, so that's like my comfort Mania, and everyone's like, you can't talk about it. We never talk about it, and you're just like, but it's not fair. It's like I stayed up to watch the SummerSlam where Orton won the title, and there's like, can't talk about it.
It's
100% justified, but nah.
It's a touchy subject. Yeah, touch and go.
So I've been kind of weekly ever since then. I went through the horror years of Cena as champion through 2010s. Straight on the ROH bandwagon back in like 2011, and then through meeting a couple of folk, kind of in my own personal life, I managed to get into a bit of the British indie scene. Went to quite a few shows. Saw Grado win the title at the SEC against Galloway. All those kind of things. So yeah, it's nice to sit down and talk about wrestling because I don't really have many wrestling pals, I guess.
Well, you're more than welcome to come on this whenever you want. So agenda for today, a lot's happened. I think it's best we probably just start with what happened on Saturday night at the Elimination Chamber. We'll run through sort of the weaker matches, if you would.
I don't think there is a weak match on the show, to be honest.
There isn't, no. I mean,
I was massively impressed with the entire show. I think
brilliant from start to finish.
You've seen that with all the premium live events recently. It's all kind of banger after banger. Unfortunately, there's not a let off match.
No, it follows that same format of Triple H knows what he's doing. He makes shorter sort of cards, but with all the matches feeling more. You're more involved in this and invested in the storylines with them all.
I've got to say, the US title match when it was announced gave me horrible IC belt Elimination Chamber vibes. But I was pleasantly surprised having watched it back again last night. It was again an absolute thrill to go through as well, and to get everyone out their pods at the same time to work together before elimination started again.
That's the format it should follow. That's the format it should follow. But see, when you have a match, I didn't know what I was expecting, and because I thought Bronson Reed's just back, why they throw him in the chamber? And he was bloody brilliant. Then you had Johnny Gargano, who's just so underrated. So even Damian Priest is your weakest man in the match. That's just...
Yeah. We say weakest. I mean, looking at that chamber, Montez Ford is an absolute hero. He's got to be champion at some point. He's incredible to watch.
He's going places. I've said this for years. I've said this even since he was in NXT, that I think he's a future WWE champion. And that performance highlighted it. It was... there was a point where I thought he might actually do it.
It's his facial expressions. If you just as they're all doing their entrances, as they come out, and Priest is John with each of them in the pod as they're going round, and he's just looked at Ford, and Ford's like, it doesn't bother me. I've got this. I can do this. And you're like, I like a bit of confidence in a wrestler, and every one of them needs to have that little extra point on top. And his facial expressions when selling are second to none at the moment.
Yeah. Brilliant. Logan Paul as well.
Oh, the best buckshot lariat in the business. And I hate to say that after schooling you on Josh Matthews' flip over entry to a ring and Tough Enough.
I've said it since he came in. I hate how good he is, but he's also a future WWE champion in my opinion.
I don't think we're ever going to get over the stage of him being Logan Paul who can do some wrestling.
It's always going to be Logan Paul, the guy who made Prime, the guy who fought Mayweather, KSI, but he's building a name for himself, and it's really weird how he's going to face Seth Rollins at WrestleMania.
It's bizarre. I mean, wrestling The Miz, yeah, sure. You've got a Saudi show, you know it's going to be an absolute mess anyway. So we'll just bang him in with Roman Reigns. But that match at the Saudi show was
a 5-star classic. Yeah, like it was just brilliant.
It's what, he's like third match,
and he's up against Roman Reigns.
Main event the pay-per-view. And yeah, it's kind of incredible when you think about it. But there is always going to be that attachment for me where it's like, it's Logan Paul, it's Japanese Forest, it's boxing KSI, then Mayweather, scamming a load of folk with his NFT business, does the wrestling pretty good.
Yeah.
And I think that's fine for people like my age, like mid to late 20s who've been watching wrestling like since childhood. That's fine. I think the younger fans, it'll be Logan Paul's Maverick Man, but also he's the best wrestler that's ever lived for them, I guess. They've got that kind of hype behind him and his brand. The way he came out, hit that lariat, and just started jawing and then decided to go for a stomp as well was fantastic.
I know, it was brilliant. And then Theory obviously retained, which is setting up what will probably be the John Cena match come WrestleMania, which I'm excited for.
I'm excited for it. I
would still have the
huge
Theory
fan.
retain.
Yeah, definitely. Cena's always gonna want to do something, and it's not like Vince Cena where it's like lol, Cena wins, or as it is now in 2023, lol, Cody wins.
Something Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, something Cody's won by pinfall. He's hit 3 crossroads and he's bleeding within 3 seconds. But yeah, I thought Ford looked incredible. Bronson Reed is being set up for after Mania. It must be, because he is an absolute powerhouse, and it's not just that he's a big man who does big man moves. He's a big man with like an intensity behind every action in the ring that just makes him an absolute pleasure to watch.
He gives me he gives me a Vader feel. Like I think they're going to make him like this unstoppable monster.
Hits the Vader bomb.
Yeah, hits the Vader bomb. I think he's going to become this sort of unstoppable monster that after Mania you've got to sort of build him up. So even if he's the one that takes the US title off of Theory, wouldn't be completely against that.
I wouldn't be opposed to that at all. The one that really struggles for me is Johnny Gargano. I am a huge DIY fan from their first appearance with Regal in their ill-fitting suits on NXT to obviously the Ciampa Gargano feud over the years. But when he's come back to the main roster, I just haven't clicked with it at all.
He's just kind of there.
Thing.
He's just kind of there, and that's the kind of sad part. Is because I'm a huge Johnny Gargano fan. Like, as soon as they took away his music, that's when you knew you were screwed.
The dude voice over the top of Rebel Heart doesn't work for me, but I think it's also, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, it might just be my horrible garbage take here, but since he's come back, he seems to play only the sarky Spider-Man role on the side, like a 14-year-old trying to hit wisecracks, you know?
Yeah, why is he second fiddle in a feud that involves Dexter Lumis and The Miz?
Lumis doesn't talk, so he needs a mouthpiece, but Gargano is not that mouthpiece.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, just bring back the way. Just make way 2.0.
Not to be massively negative, because I thought his work in this match, amazing. His interaction with every participant and the work that they did together really got you behind him as always. classic Johnny wrestling, isn't it?
Yeah. It's always what you're going to get one.
Just character-wise, kind of promo-wise at the moment, I just don't know if it's clicking for me. I think I'm kind of waiting on Ciampa to come back to see if Triple H is going to get his pet project going again.
I would not be opposed to not Ciampa versus Gargano 7.0, but Ciampa versus someone. Make him a star, because he is a star.
Well, your option is as soon as he gets that call and he's like, Ciampa's fit to return, it's going to be smash glass in case of emergency. 1 hour last man standing match.
Where we have Candice screw him over again.
So, other chamber match, women's match, how did you feel about it? So who did we have?
Asuka, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Mrs. Smiley Face, Natalya, Carmella, and Nikki Cross.
Yep.
Yeah.
So big shout out to Nikki Cross, ICW legend.
Of course. Scottish hero.
Queen of the Galaxy at one point, I believe.
we knew what was going to happen, but I'm just a bit sort of deflated because I would have had it be Liv versus Asuka as your final two. Have Liv go from like 2 to the final spot, and then she passes out rather than taps out because she's going through that whole extreme. I will not tap out.
I hate that submission spot. Why are you passing out there?
Why?
You're not getting choked out. You get an armbar and your knees wrenched on.
I know. Why is it a sharpshooter and a it's not even a crossface. Yeah, it's an armbar.
It's just a float over armbar.
Yeah.
So, like, I understand the suspension of disbelief is fine. I can get where they're going with it, and I'm fine with it. This kind of Liv Morgan's a bit mental. There's not really
That's the best way to describe it.
Well, it is. Like, to put it in the plain Scottish, she's a bit mental is kind of her gimmick at the moment, and I don't really I understand wanting to take the risks and how that will change her character going forward. And obviously, she was Liv Morgan, never get the job done back in the day under Vince. So it's nice to see her getting these spots and working hard. Obviously, to the title of Rousey previously. I was unhappy with how that feud went, to be honest.
Underwhelmed, I think, is the best word for it. It was
placeholder champion.
Yeah, I mean, I've always loved Liv. I thought she was brilliant, even from like the Riot Squad days. I thought she's got potential there. It's just untapped. It took its time, but you finally got to the top, and then it was a bland storyline. But I think that's also in part to the fact that it was Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey wins, LOL.
Yeah, I'm going to come out and put on the most... which is another situation we'll talk about at another time. Yeah. Ronda Rousey's electric start straight into boring promo after boring promo into boring match after boring match.
Deafening chant, I should say, from the crowd on Friday night of "You can't wrestle." To, at one point, the biggest UFC star on the planet. Is mental to me.
I mean, I think
they're not wrong.
Obviously, huge MMA fan, trained jiu-jitsu for a while. She was great at the time, but I think that's where the state of women's MMA was at the time as well. I think hindsight's 2020 as well. I was on the Ronda Rousey bandwagon back when she was beating Alex like Betch Cahill by knockout and things like that. But when proper seasoned fighters came in, she got found out very quickly. But a lot of that's a lot of different issues as well. Should we talk about Sami and Roman then?
Yes, I suppose we should.
Try not to cry, Kieran.
Honestly, to the viewers listening, I'll do my best, but this I'm far too passionate about this storyline, and you knew he was going to retain, but there was that slither, that entrance. I've never heard a crowd go that mental for someone in my life. The only time you can maybe argue is Punk at Money in the Bank 2011, but even then, it's it is, and it's just the fact he's got was it No Worlds Apart back as his theme. Oh,
which
that was a special moment.
He'd been saying in media he didn't know if it was coming, but he definitely wanted it back. But to hear it as he came out, and it's not your old Sami Zayn, you can see that throughout this Bloodline saga that it's taken its toll on him. He's not happy face skanking Sami Zayn now that he's got his song back. He's still
brooding.
Yeah, it's the one match from this that I watched live. So I woke myself up and watched it in bed with my earphones on next to my missus while she was asleep. But there was just that first 5 minutes. Whether it is 5 minutes or not, it's best just to put that kind of time frame on it, where they didn't even touch. You're just listening to the crowd. And fair play to Roman Reigns. His character work since he's come back as a heel in the past 2 years has been absolutely spectacular.
Well,
that kind of
see when you're getting an hour at the end of an Elimination Chamber pay-per-view where it's not going to be an Elimination Chamber match, and you've got an hour to fill. They did it perfectly. Fair enough, you always knew Roman was going to have his 20-minute entrance, but the boos, the FU Romans, the you sucks, it was brilliant. His character work, his heel. I'm writing my dissertation on this. It's his power over the Bloodline and his power over Sami, and even towards the end of the match where he's like, I don't want to do this, but I will, and I'm putting you down and you will know your place.
The key part for me is, I think it's after the super kicks from Jimmy. Sami's trying to, they're kind of both on their knees, and Sami just kind of crawls in his lap. And Roman's pushing me. He's like, I don't want this. I wanted to bring you in. I wanted to give you everything, and you've made me do this. Spectacular, sensational pro wrestling.
Do you had Jimmy and Jay come out obviously for interference. Well, I say Jay. Jay obviously gets speared by Sami, and then Roman spears him. I wouldn't have had Sami get pinned. I would have had Roman just put him in the guillotine, have him choke him out. He doesn't tap out. He doesn't lose by pinfall. Plus, you had all the referee shenanigans. Choking him out would have been the easiest way to go about it.
I don't think the pinfall hurt Sami in any way. I'm incredibly
considering
excited.
He kicked out the 7 super kicks in the splash.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what it goes on Friday night. I think that'll. I don't think they're done with Sami Roman yet. Everyone's screaming Owens Zayn tag team champions, ending the Usos' monumental reign. But for me, I think there's still, with a reaction for a wrestler like that, one that we haven't held in years, be that Punk at 2011, where he took the title, Daniel Bryan
at WrestleMania 30.
At WrestleMania 30, or, I hate to say it, Punk in Chicago in AEW as well.
For his debut.
Or Hangman when he came out against Omega for the title. With that stellar vignette of him walking down the street on horseback with all the memories playing on the billboards. The crowd reaction for that was incredible as well. But you've got lightning in a bottle here. Everyone's behind it and wants it. Sami Zayn's your everyman.
Sami Zayn, never did I think that Sami Zayn, of all people, would get me this invested in the storyline. I loved Sami Zayn back in NXT, but I thought that was it. He was never going to be WWE champion. He was never going to be. Maybe he'll have a US title run or an Intercontinental title run. He did, but even then, it was still like it took him like what 5 years on the main roster for him to win a title, and then it was in a 3-on-1 against Braun Strowman where he had Cesaro and Nakamura, and whoever got the pinfall wins the title. And he got the pinfall, so he won the title.
It was everyone was going, oh, but he's a former NXT champion. It's like, do you remember what happened when he was champion?
He was NXT champion for like all of 20 days or whatever, and then Kevin comes and
beat the absolute sausage out of him. So
brutal.
It's great to see somebody who's gonna put everything they have into their career finally get there, you know. And as I say, I was a huge ROH fan back in the day. Steen Generico was.
I don't know what you're talking about. Generico went off to build.
He runs an orphanage in Mexico. Yeah,
he went off to build orphanages. They're the same person. I don't know what you're talking about.
I've no clue. Sorry, I must be misremembering that. But everyone goes on about Danielson versus McGuinness, like from early ROH. But for me, it was always Steen Generico.
It's always the fight forever feel with them two.
Yeah,
and I think that'll still continue.
I don't know.
We'll need to see what happens, obviously.
Roman, 10 out of 10. I'd love to see him beat Cody Rhodes, but I'm not that big a Cody Rhodes fan. So I think Cody Rhodes kind of jumped the shark after he claimed that he could cure racism on Dynamite one night.
The memes of him behind Martin Luther King. The memes.
For a long time, my lock screen on my phone was Brandy Rhodes' tweet about it.
No.
I can't wait till our daughter is old enough to understand this. And my missus is like, why have you got a tweet as your background? I was like, no reason. You don't need to know about this. Off you go.
It's on a need to know basis. Right. Well,
what else did we have that night?
We had Edge and Beth versus Rhea and Finn, which not really much to talk about there. But
Shatter Machine
at the end.
Big old nod to the boys, but I think it's probably because they are personal friends and they helped them get in ring shape before they came back. Beth Phoenix hasn't lost a step, wrestling wise. Timing for sports, maybe not the best, but Edge got you covered there. That man's a Hall of Famer, do you know what I mean?
She's also a Hall of Famer, what are you on about?
Yeah, but what I mean is the two of them together.
Yeah.
You'll know the spot I mean as well.
I know the spot you're talking about. It's
just half a second late, but Edge has got you covered, and that's all you need.
Listen, I was 50-50 on what that match result was going to be. Would I have still had the Judgment Day win? Yes. Would I have them never face each other again now and have that as the end of the storyline? Yes. Rhea was protected in defeat. She can go on to Mania. She can squash Charlotte. We're all happy.
I'm sorry, do you think that Charlotte's going to lose?
The Omni Flare never loses.
The Omni Flare's never lost. It just takes a slight ding to its armor and then recalibrates. As you saw, she came back as a face and ripped the title out the referee's hand. I know. Yeah, thought it was a good match. Edge never disappoints for me. Finn Balor is the sexiest man on the roster. And Rhea got protected, looked great in the match as well. I thought the real winner out of that entire match is Dom Mysterio, though. Prison Dom is maybe my favourite gimmick that has ever happened.
See the fact that it was just so natural, and it is go away heat, and it's the best kind. Everyone just hates him. I never thought that Dominic Mysterio would make me so happy I don't know. And it's so funny whenever he comes out. Obviously, he's got his boys backing him, and the whole Mammy. They all work that gimmick so well, and I love it.
I've got a question for you, Kieran. You've watched a lot of wrestling in your years.
I have.
The person that accompanies the actual wrestlers to the ring gets run away from ringside, up the back and through the curtain. For me, having watched a lot of wrestling and understanding professional wrestling tropes, they're not coming back. Yet here comes out strolling Dom Mysterio after being ran away by Beth Phoenix and Edge with a pair of brass knucks. Love it. It subverts what you think's going to happen, and he's an absolute sausage of a man, and I love that.
He's brilliant. Oh, honestly, I still would like him to have the. I mentioned it on my last episode about how I wanted in the Royal Rumble for them to have their confrontation. Obviously, Ray never showed up, but he came out with a mask and failed to very much rip up that mask. I think he takes the mask off him. I think Ray retires at Mania. I think it'll be a sort of mask and career versus maybe he leaves Judgment Day if he loses, and then he wins. Because I think Ray's getting to that age now. He's what? It's got to be in these late 40s, early 50s.
I think he's 50.
God.
I saw a thing the other day. One last match that we need to cover for this. Bobby versus Brock.
Oh no, I forgot that happened.
Hey, not a bad match. Just big
good match.
Beefy men slapping meat.
You mentioned that. You mentioned that phrase of break glass in emergency. That is Bobby versus Brock. It's why they had to run it again. I don't know.
Because it's great to watch, mate.
But
it's actually stellar to watch. But I'm a big horse battle kind of guy. I'm a big fan of proper super heavyweights. But I think that's because I was so fat previously. I was like, oh, that's the only weight class I could ever compete in as a dream.
I thought it was a great match. I mean, shoddy finish as per usual, but I mean, I thought it was weird that they had that finish considering it was Bray Wyatt calling out whoever would win. So technically, Bobby wins via DQ. So does that mean it's going to be Bray Wyatt versus Bobby Lashley?
I'm in two minds because I hate Bray Wyatt. To put it in a phrase of many wrestling podcasts and journalists, I've just got tired of the spooky bollocks. It's not going anywhere. I love LA Knight. I think he's one of the best promos and most captivating promos in the business at the moment. And to feed him to Bray Wyatt in your Glasgow Friday night Unders Garage Night UV paint party.
The Mountain Dew Pitch Black match. I said this on the
Under 16s Colours Fest.
No, facts. I said this in the pre-Royal Rumble match that I would have had LA Knight win because he had nothing to lose. If LA Knight won, scammy out of there, just run away. He's fine, and then you have Yonka Howdy bollocks. But
it's just also not doing it for me at all.
For Uncle Howdy to dive and completely miss LA Knight where the puppets watch on, and then Pat McAfee and commentary. Yeah, well, I don't think
we got it. Is it source confirmed that Bo Dallas is Uncle Howdy?
It's not confirmed, or is it just? But it's got to be Bo Dallas. It's got to be Bo Dallas.
Just body wise.
Body wise, it matches it. They've obviously put in the wee sort of teases and the clues, like he's wearing the same earrings that Bo wore when he was in the B team, and he has some sort of other thing that matches when he was part of the Miz Taraj. It's got to be Bo Dallas, but I mean, I'm not against Bo Dallas. I like Bo Dallas. I thought the Bo Leave gimmick in NXT was really good, but Pat McAfee screaming, "Who the hell is that?" Well, Michael Cole's having to go, "That's Uncle Howdy." We know who it's Uncle Howdy.
It was Royal Rumble. Sorry, the Royal Rumble, as I should call it. Pat McAfee coming back's great. Pat McAfee clearly not having kept up with the product since he's been away doing college football is even funnier to me.
Oh yes. See that Hardy performance, which was one already crap, but then Pat McAfee singing over him, Michael Cole and Corey Graves having to tell him to shut up. Oh, brilliant.
Well, that's Elimination Chamber for you, big boy.
I think that wraps up our Elimination Chamber review. Yes, we will. You know what? We'll make this its own episode. We'll end this here, and we will be back with another episode very shortly. So, thank you for watching episode 2. Like, subscribe. Thank you, Ian, again for coming on. And yes.